this. I have a quick confession to make. I want to say that I was a total DeForest virgin.
NANI?!
The wildest part of this journey was that I didn't consume any content before and after the game came out. No videos, no articles or anything. I don't recall watching a trailer to this day. This is a very rare experience in this age. I saw people in my stream friend list playing it. Some have been telling me to try it out, and now I can safely say I did it and I ditched Timmy. And man, it was a roller coaster. My first few hours started in co-op with friends and things went really fast, but I gathered my strengths and decided to play by myself, alone. Although I was cursed with the knowledge about the fertile lands and I was not completely ready for the experience, I had much more to find out. To this day, I think it was a bit of a mistake, living there. It made the journey a bit easier, but in my defense, I didn't have any idea about what I was getting in, so I decided to use all the knowledge from that hour and a half with my friends instead of experimenting. After all, I am the game plan, and hopefully I come prepared. I entered the game with a few important pieces of information. I knew I would have to shove myself into tight dark dank cracks. I also quickly learned another tip.
My spear
is my best friend. It is my life.
So I set the game on normal difficulty and fired it up. Several moments after touching hard ground, I totally got whacked in the head in my first encounter with a pleasant cannibal couple. I have been deceived. This game is not to be underestimated. The island folks quickly gave me a lesson, a gentle spank, sort of. You see, they just run around being annoying little pricks, staring from afar, hiding, or just making weird noises. They're keeping distance, acting like you are the threat. And all this just to make you feel like you're in control. Then you wake up in a cave with a massive hangover, remembering the first time you heard this shriek. Oh. I remembered that moment and kept it in my mind onwards. The AI gained my respect and made everything in this game click. I know it can be dumb sometimes, but it really makes you feel these are some sort of twisted people and not the good old filthy zombies fixated on getting you. They go around patrolling, climb trees, become scared, do cunning stuff like flanking, and they kinda care about their dead. All that subverted my expectations and added to the immersion. I absolutely started to feel scared going around in the night, although by the end of my journey I didn't give a damn. I really became a true axe-wielding, mace-flailing, chainsaw-in-the-ass forest ninja. But there was a spiritual journey that I had to endure to become one. This trip made me wind up in that little cave, hanging upside down with a terrible hangover 3 times. Each time was because of me playing dumb and forgetting the fact that I was just a mere guest on this island. So, I used my intel to the maximum, started visiting the sightseeings and slowly uncovered the horrors of this place, hidden deep down in the darkness. The cave labyrinths gave a really different vibe compared to the island's main land. They also provided awesome instruments of ultimate badass destruction, and lots of materials that I tried to put in good use with the very cute crafting system. I was so engulfed in spelunking that I absolutely forgot about building my base and drying the damn sleigh. I have never been big into building anyways, except maybe when I was playing 7 Days to Die or Valheim. Yeah, so I can safely say that I felt happy for not being pressed to do so. Sometime later, I took a trip to the mountain that didn't last long, but preparing was a tiny journey on its own. I was feeling happy while chasing pigs in the dirt. The island was small, but temporary camps were very useful while taking off the skin from the backs of innocent animals for baggies and winter attire. All this for a little flare gun. I didn't even use it. Yes, swing with me! Swing with my axe! At one point, I had this huge project in my mind. One that involved creating a ramp down this huge sinkhole where I ended up once but didn't manage to find my way up, so I had to go back in my saves and load the last one. That was a crazy story involving babies and one scared guy with a chainsaw in his disposal. Too bad that I lost the video and I cannot show you my face when I realized that these are just mutant popcorn. This was the cave where I got my first handsy, or was it called armsy? That one. And this is why I had to try. I had to make my way in, but also invent a way back. A great plan culminating in an experiment with ziplining. And then I ended up in a cave with no way back, just like that last time I was talking about a moment ago. Cold and having no options but to go forward, hoping for a way out. I found the end of the game zone. And nope, I'm not going to spoil anything from that part of the game. After that intro, I probably don't have to tell you that I was left with a good impression overall. I went in for a survival sandbox game and went out of these tight caves beating a sandbox horror survival game. I have played other games that have horror elements, but mainly as an added flavor. The Forest is kinda seasoned with survival, but mostly feels like a horror game to me. Food, water and materials were abundant, so I did not worry much about what to eat or drink. The environment was not that tough on me, and to be fair, it felt like nature tried to help me as much as possible. At least, this is how it felt while playing on the suggested as optimal normal difficulty. At one point, I even tried the game on the highest difficulty, and I can say that the survival part was just right, but the enemies became a bit too spongy for my liking. The story is clouded in mystery, and you will feel that from day one on the island. You see your son being snatched from you by a tall, naked, bloody dude, and from this moment on, you just uncover more and more weird stuff until your whole story turns upside down in the end. I did not end up disappointed from all I could piece together. The twist at the end, the change of environment, and the final choice I had to make felt good in comparison to the huge part where I was making my own story. And now, I put on my objective hat and we will talk about the mechanical stuff. The AI did a great job and made this game work for me. The presence of the cannibals and mainly the way they act provides a lot of immersion and diversity of situations the player can get from encounters. It makes the whole world feel alive. The environment also provides contrasting experience, even within one biome. The upper island has vast area with several points of interest. Hunting grounds and patrol routes cover the rest, along with lots of cave entrances where you can get to the underground section. This is a claustrophobic labyrinth through which the player has to navigate. There are less enemies, but tight corridors provide a field to experiment with your arsenal. We can't have survival without crafting, and here I honestly say the way it looks made me chuckle, since I'm a fan of bushcraft and survival myself. The recipes were pretty straightforward, but the way the whole thing was arranged design-wise was what made me like it. You see, You have this mat on the ground where you can look at all your gathered stuff in little piles or sorting bags. It looks natural, it looks like a real life thing you will do before you start making your stone axe or spear. Nothing like Tetris boxes, lists of materials, or other forms of modernized crafting interface. I can describe it as chaotic and well structured at the same time, and it almost did not take any time to get used to it. So yeah, pretty cool. You get points for that. Materials used in crafting come from various forms of wildlife and natural sources, but the most interesting or useful things you can gather from caves, luggage, and villages. In general, it's nothing too convoluted, but it also doesn't lack variety. Weapons can be found or crafted. Some of them can be upgraded too. Mechanically, it's nothing new. I would actually say the approach End-Night Games took with that aspect was fairly standard. You have speed, damage, poison, and fire with the standard type of effects they bring. I don't see that as a minus. In fact, I think this is pretty fair since the game is not an RPG and the focus is somewhere else. Most of the game is built on pretty simple systems that add up on top of each other, and paired with the rest of the gameplay, it's definitely something that feels right. Mentioning simple systems reminds me it is time to talk about combat. It felt intuitive, it didn't present any natural mechanical challenges. Again, you have the typical options like swing and jab for the spear. You can block with most of the melee weapons. Some situational attacks like downward attack, jump attack, and heavy hits provide additional opportunities that you can explore. There's a stagger mechanic that happens when you hit your enemy, and I also noticed that you can even interrupt or stun lock them if you know what you're doing. There is a stealth mechanic system present in the game where one can one-shot kill enemies, and although I never tried it, I think that's pretty cool that it's existing in the game. The time has come to mention the things that were not so great. No, don't worry about it, it's not that bad. I just have to mention the problems I felt bugged me the most. You know, no game is perfect no matter the budget and time spent on it, so the first comes with a few, and I mean very few, problems that hit me. My main nemesis throughout the whole game was getting water from ponds. There was a moment when I wasted around 15 minutes while trying to fill my pot with water, and it felt dreadful. I can safely say that this mechanic could be remade to work more naturally or more correctly. And I do know that they made it much better in the Sons of the Forest. Speaking of water collecting, there was a moment when water collectors decided to gather rainwater whenever the planets were aligned. Hunting also did leave me with a bit of a mixed feelings. Whenever I had to kill a Bambian deer to spear scenarios, of course. And no, it's not because I'm suffering from some kind of Disney-induced childhood PTSD. It just felt like deer had armor. Other than that, the typical hunting experience felt kinda okay, even a bit better than the rest of the janky games the survival genre has to offer. Finally, the one thing that kept me away from building wherever, it's not actually a bug, it's the way building is designed in this game. Structures do not snap when placing blueprints next to each other, and to this day I still don't know how to make them do that. I feel like I don't have the patience to align every tile and piece by hand, and believe me, I am a very patient guy. Gladly, there were blueprints of whole houses that I could use, so this was not that big of a deal. Sound also had moments where it felt a bit odd, sometimes coming too loud or from an angle that I can only describe as incorrect. But I might be spoiled by the 3D audio that I'm used to hear in today's games. Anyways, beside these problems, I also found a clue that I could not gather, a few weird moving objects and some weird animation cuts, but nothing game-breaking, nothing that would make me stop playing. In conclusion, The Forest is a great game if you're the average enjoyer of horror and survival games in a sandbox environment, which is basically a lot of the games in the survival genre. Anyways, it will not lead you by the hand, so you have to make your own journey through a massive part of the game, which also makes it great for replaying. You can play co-op with your friends, so it ticks that box as well. It's not made by a AAA company, which might be noticeable here and there and may not appeal to some, but I don't care about that and I will recommend you playing it. And when you do, would you please send my regards to that bloody cannibal couple that bonked me in the head in the beginning of my other video? Thanks. Now I'm off to play something else, maybe Sons of the Forest. I don't know. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, ask anything. I don't know. That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's over.